The electrical contractor is typically responsible for installing all electrical wiring in a residential building, which includes wiring for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. This is generally the case because the electrical contractor is licensed to work on electrical systems in residential buildings. However, there can be exceptions. In some areas, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractor might be permitted to install wiring for their systems if they possess a special license or permit. Also, in some instances, a homeowner may be allowed to install wiring for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, provided they have adequate knowledge and experience. It is essential to verify local building codes to understand the specific requirements in any given location. It's generally advisable to have the electrical contractor handle all electrical wiring in a residence, including the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. This helps ensure the wiring is correctly and safely installed. To further expand on the topic, let's delve into the reasons why electrical contractors are generally preferred for electrical work, the potential roles and responsibilities of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors, and factors to consider when determining who should perform this work. Electrical contractors possess the necessary licenses, training, and expertise to safely and correctly install electrical wiring in residential buildings. They are familiar with the National Electrical Code and other relevant regulations, ensuring that installations meet safety standards. They can also properly size wiring and circuit breakers to handle the electrical load of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, preventing overloads and potential fire hazards. Furthermore, electrical contractors are equipped to troubleshoot and repair any electrical problems that may arise with the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. While heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors specialize in the installation and maintenance of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment, they may not always have the same level of expertise in electrical wiring as licensed electrical contractors. However, in some jurisdictions, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors may be allowed to perform certain electrical work related to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, such as connecting the unit to a disconnect switch or running low-voltage control wiring. This is often permitted if the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractor holds a special electrical license or permit. The requirements for these licenses and permits vary by location, and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors may need to demonstrate their knowledge and skills in electrical work through testing and training. In some cases, homeowners may be tempted to install electrical wiring for their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system themselves to save money. However, this is generally not recommended unless the homeowner has extensive electrical knowledge and experience. Electrical work can be dangerous, and improper wiring can lead to shocks, fires, and other hazards. Additionally, many jurisdictions require a permit for electrical work, and homeowners who perform unpermitted work may face fines or other penalties. When determining who should install the electrical wiring for a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, it's crucial to consider several factors. Firstly, local building codes and regulations must be followed. These codes specify who is allowed to perform electrical work and what permits are required. Secondly, the complexity of the electrical work should be assessed. If the wiring is straightforward, such as connecting a unit to an existing disconnect switch, a qualified heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractor might be able to handle it. However, if the wiring is more complex, such as running new circuits or installing a subpanel, a licensed electrical contractor is the better choice. Thirdly, safety should always be the top priority. Electrical work should only be performed by someone who is qualified and experienced and who understands the relevant safety procedures. If there is any doubt, it's always best to hire a licensed electrical contractor. To further elaborate on the electrical contractor's role, consider their responsibilities. They are responsible for the safe and code-compliant installation of all electrical components related to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. This includes running wiring from the electrical panel to the disconnect switch, connecting the disconnect switch to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning unit, and ensuring that all connections are properly made and grounded. They must also ensure that the wiring is properly sized to handle the load of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. The electrical contractor will also typically coordinate with the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractor to ensure that the electrical work is compatible with the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. This coordination is essential to avoid any problems during installation or operation. Permits and inspections are also a key part of the process. Electrical contractors are responsible for obtaining the necessary permits for electrical work. They will also schedule inspections to ensure that the work meets code requirements. These inspections help ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant. In summary, the electrical contractor plays a critical role in ensuring the safe and reliable operation of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Their expertise in electrical wiring and knowledge of building codes make them the ideal choice for this work. While heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors may be able to perform some limited electrical work, it's generally best to rely on a licensed electrical contractor for all electrical wiring in a residential building. Remember that safety should always be the top priority when it comes to electrical work. Hiring a qualified and experienced electrical contractor is the best way to ensure that the wiring is installed correctly and safely. It is also important to note that the National Electrical Code, which is a widely adopted standard for electrical installations, provides detailed requirements for wiring heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. This code covers various aspects of the installation, including wiring methods, conductor sizing, overcurrent protection, and grounding. Electrical contractors are familiar with the National Electrical Code and will ensure that all installations comply with its requirements. For example, National Electrical Code Section 440 covers air conditioning and refrigerating equipment. This section provides specific requirements for the disconnecting means, branch circuit overcurrent protection, and motor compressor overcurrent protection. Electrical contractors will follow these requirements to ensure that the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system is properly protected from electrical faults. In addition, National Electrical Code Section 430 covers motors, motor circuits, and controllers. This section provides requirements for motor branch circuit conductors, motor overload protection, and motor control circuits. Electrical contractors will follow these requirements when wiring motors used in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, such as those found in fans and pumps. Grounding is another critical aspect of electrical safety. National Electrical Code Section 250 covers grounding and bonding. This section provides requirements for grounding electrical systems to protect against electrical shock and fire hazards. Electrical contractors will ensure that the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system is properly grounded by connecting it to the building's grounding electrode system. This helps to ensure that any fault current will safely flow to ground, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing a dangerous voltage from appearing on the metal parts of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Another important consideration is the type of wiring used for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. The National Electrical Code specifies the types of wiring that are permitted for different applications. For example, National Electrical Code Section 310.15 provides requirements for the allowable ampacity of insulated conductors. Electrical contractors will use the appropriate type of wiring for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, based on the voltage, current, and temperature rating of the equipment. Common types of wiring used for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems include Type NMB cable, Type THHN/THWN conductors and conduit, and flexible metal conduit. The choice of wiring method will depend on the specific requirements of the installation and local building codes. In addition to the National Electrical Code, local building codes may also have specific requirements for electrical installations. These codes may be more stringent than the National Electrical Code in some areas. Electrical contractors are familiar with local building codes and will ensure that all installations comply with these requirements. It is also important to note that electrical work can be dangerous if not performed properly. Electrical shock can cause serious injury or even death. Electrical fires can cause significant property damage. For these reasons, it is always best to hire a qualified and experienced electrical contractor for all electrical work. A qualified electrical contractor will have the necessary training, experience, and equipment to perform the work safely and correctly. They will also be familiar with the National Electrical Code and local building codes. When hiring an electrical contractor, it is important to check their credentials and references. Make sure that they are licensed and insured. Also, ask for references from previous customers. A reputable electrical contractor will be happy to provide references. In conclusion, the electrical contractor is typically responsible for installing all electrical wiring in a residential building, including the wiring for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. While heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors may be able to perform some limited electrical work, it's generally best to rely on a licensed electrical contractor for all electrical wiring. Remember that safety should always be the top priority when it comes to electrical work. Hiring a qualified and experienced electrical contractor is the best way to ensure that the wiring is installed correctly and safely, complying with the National Electrical Code and local building codes. Consider the complexities of the system, and always prioritize a professional for the electrical installations. Understanding these distinctions ensures safety and compliance in all residential electrical projects.